According to a report on the New York Daily News, which has been, I guess you'd say, verified by a Fox Business analyst and reported by The Hill, according to these sources, during an inaugural ball Friday evening, Kellyanne Conway, Trump's advisor, punched a man in the face 3 times. Now, before we get into the details of this story, let me repeat. This is not necessarily completely verified. We're still waiting for all the facts. It could very well turn out to be false. But these outlets have reported it. They claim to have witnesses that witnessed this fight. So here is what these outlets are reporting happened with Kellyanne Conway Friday at an inaugural ball. 2 men in tuxedos invited guests at the inaugural ball, got into a fight. Kellyanne Conway steps in between them to break it up. Good move. And then she just punches one of the men 3 times. Now, this story does sound unbelievable, but let's assume for a second that it's true. These 2 men who were in tuxedos, according to the report, were invited guests. These were people that the Trump administration wanted to attend. They weren't protesters who broke in. They weren't people trying to crash the party. They weren't, just people off the street. These were invited guests getting into a fight. And then you have an advisor of somebody who just became president stepping in and punching someone in the face 3 times. Donald Trump, if this story is true, and you know what, even if it's not true, he's done this. He has turned the American political system into the set of a Jerry Springer show. That's what we're looking at with American politics today. It's not bad reality TV. It's daytime trash TV, where one group is yelling at the other saying, "You have no class." "No, you have no class." "Well, you know what? None of you have any class." If you show up at one of the swankiest, fanciest events that happens in the United States every 4 years and get into a fist fight, you have no class. If you're at an inaugural ball for a new president of the United States, regardless of party, and you hit another human being in the face, or you start a fight with someone, as reported these 2 men do, you don't belong at these events. You're more comfortable, you're more likely to be found at a frat party, because that's where this kind of stuff happens. It's some kind of seedy nightclub full of people who, "Oh, no, you looked at me wrong, so I'm going to fight you." Not at an inaugural ball. You belong on the Jerry Springer show. And that is one of the biggest problems with the Trump administration. For a man who does nothing but talk about how much class he has, he certainly, absolutely, unequivocally has none. Because if he did, he wouldn't have to sit there and tell us every 5 seconds how frickin' classy he is.